Welcome to Dan's On Fandoms. I'm Dan. In Chapter 14 of The Mandalorian, we saw Grogu use the Seeing Stone on Tython, attempting to reach out with the Force and connect with a Force-sensitive being, which would hopefully allow him to choose his path. We don't know yet who will answer his Force call, so to speak, but I figured it'd be fun to speculate on who might possibly answer Grogu's call. So, let's run through some of the potential characters that could answer Grogu's call, starting with the most obvious, Luke Skywalker. Luke is a character we know is alive and kicking during the time of The Mandalorian, which is 9 ABY, and I think he's a strong contender at this point. We also know that at some point after 4 ABY in Return of the Jedi, Luke went on to create a new Jedi Order, so there's a real possibility that Luke could be someone that hears Grogu's Force call and reaches out to him. Since we've gotten so much content and stories featuring him, I'd prefer a different non-legacy character to answer Grogu's call. The same could be said of Leia. By 9 ABY, she had already stopped training with Luke, as she stopped training with him prior to Ben Solo's birth in 5 ABY, but she's still alive at this point and is still Force sensitive. Like Luke, I'd rather Leia not appear in The Mandalorian, and although it's highly unlikely she would appear, there's still a possibility she may show up. Another character that could answer Grogu's call, and one that I also think is a strong possibility, Ezra Bridger. In the series finale of Rebels, Ezra and Thrawn were pulled into Lightspeed by Purrgil, and it's implied that he and Thrawn are still alive and somewhere in the galaxy. Rumors have swirled for months that a Rebels sequel series has been in the works at Lucasfilm and Disney, and with talks that Ahsoka's appearance in Chapter 13 of The Mandalorian acting as a backdoor pilot for a spin-off series, Ezra seems like a strong contender to answer Grogu's Force call, and he's a character I'd love to see answer Grogu. I love Rebels and really enjoy Ezra and his arc throughout the series, so I think it'd be baller if he's the one to answer Grogu. Another possibility is Cal Kestis and Cere Junda. Cal and Cere both appeared in the game Jedi Fallen Order, which is one of my absolute favorite Star Wars stories in the current canon. Stop what you're doing and go buy and play that game if you haven't. Anyway, Cal and Cere are Jedi and both survived the events of the game. However, that game took place in 14 BBY, which would leave a gap of about 23 years between the ending of Fallen Order and Season 2 of The Mandalorian. That's a good amount of years with a hell of a lot that could happen in that time period, so we don't know if they're still alive in 9 ABY. With that said, Cal and Cere could possibly receive Grogu's call and answer it, which I'd be all about. Give me more Cal, Cere, and BD please. The next person that could potentially answer Grogu's call is Quinn Voss. In the comic series Darth Vader, Dark Lord of the Sith, we learn that Quinn Voss was listed as a priority target for Darth Vader and his Inquisitors following the events of Order 66. Because of this, we can presume that Voss survived Order 66 and the Jedi Purge. In the current canon, we don't know where Quinn Voss wound up after Order 66, or if he survived and stayed alive up to 9 ABY. If he did, he's someone who could answer Grogu's call, and that's something I'd be cool with seeing. Quinn Voss is a character that hasn't been explored a ton in the current canon, so I think he'd be a very interesting person to feature in The Mandalorian. Next on the list of potential characters to answer Grogu is in a similar boat as Quinn Voss, and that character is Barriss Offee. The last time Barriss Offee was seen in the current canon timeline was in Season 5 of The Clone Wars in 19 BBY. In the season finale, Barriss was arrested after admitting to bombing the Jedi Temple on Coruscant and framing Ahsoka. After that point, Barriss has not appeared in any other canon stories, so we don't know if she's alive or dead by the time of Season 2 of The Mandalorian. Likewise, another potential Jedi from the prequel era that, in theory, could answer Grogu's call is Yaddle. I think this is very, very unlikely because I just can't see Favreau and Filoni bringing her into the story, but I've seen her name tossed around a bunch. The last time Yaddle appeared in canon was in The Phantom Menace, and we have no clue if she survived or perished in Order 66. I'm just gonna come out and say I'd rather we don't see Yaddle in The Mandalorian. Like Yaddle, I've seen some people mentioning Force Ghosts as possibly responding to Grogu. This is something I could get down with and think would be pretty cool. If Force Ghosts can answer Grogu's call, that means Yoda, Obi-Wan, and or Anakin Skywalker could potentially appear before our little green friend, and I can't say I'd be opposed to that. So far, we've only talked about Lightsiders, but there could be some Darksiders that answer Grogu's call. Let's start with my top sleeper pick out of this entire list, the goddamn Knights of Ren. Based on information provided in the Rise of Kylo Ren comic series, we know that the Knights of Ren were all Force sensitive and that the group was potentially created centuries before the events of the comic series, which takes place in 28 ABY. Because of this, the Knights of Ren could have been around in 9 ABY and could potentially answer Grogu's call. I gotta say, I think that'd actually be quite dope and could potentially continue the theme of whether Grogu will sway towards the light side or the dark side. There's also the possibility that other dark side users could answer Grogu's call, maybe even Darth Sidious, possibly Snoke, if he's around in 9 ABY. If a Darksider were to answer Grogu's call, I think it'd be pretty cool if Snoke or the Knights of Ren were to be the ones that answered it. To be honest, I think I'd rather it be a Darksider that answers Grogu, because I think that'd be even more interesting for his story and his arc. As we can see, there's a good number of possibilities for who Favreau and Filoni could have answered Grogu's call, and I think there's arguments that can be made for any characters mentioned on this list. I'm itching to find out who it'll be and can't wait to see what'll happen afterwards. But what do you think? Who do you think will answer Grogu's call, and who are you hoping it'll be? Let us know down in the comments. Want more Star Wars content? Check out some of our other videos. If you like this video, please help out the channel by hitting that like button, making sure you subscribe, and as always, stay nerdy.